Welcome, FNUS57 here. Once again, we're back on the Xbox Series X with Call of Duty MW3 MWZ. Today's video is a little bit different because I'm highlighting it from the live stream. So for anyone watching on YouTube, that's why things are a little different. I will be going through and providing you the information for a relatively quick completion of the HORDE HUNT event. So we finally have all of the tasks available to us. I'm going to show you just real quick what you get if you complete all of the tasks. You get the kill shot operator, which, I mean, you know, pretty cool to have a new operator, but the tasks that you have to do are a little bit annoying. There's a multiplayer mode that changes each week. If you want, you can go ahead and do these tasks in the multiplayer mode. For base rewards, you're going to have to just kill zombies and collect zombie bones up to a max of 10,000. The rewards list is alright if you have space in your stash to claim them. If you don't have space, then you'll just lose them. There's some perks which are kind of whatever. There is a legendary ether tool at 2,500 bones and a ray gun case at 10,000 bones if you care about that. Again, before you get to that point, make sure that you have space in your stash. If you are maxed, then you will not be able to get those, and they will just disappear into the ether at the point that you would normally have unlocked them. There's also a Tiny Scream zombie charm, which you will get after collecting 600 skulls, which are armored helmets from armored zombies, specifically tier 3 zombies. And then there is also the challenge for collecting the skulls from 300 hellhounds, and that gives you the animated Dogs of Hell calling card. And last but not least is the new challenge for the last 2 weeks of the event that requires you to collect the skulls from 200 mimics, thereby granting you the cursed ammo skin for the deployable ammo crate. Sadly, you can't use that at this time in zombies, so if you're only a zombies player, that skin doesn't really matter other than helping you to complete the event and unlock the kill shot operator. With that being said, you will need some decent gear. What you want to bring in is entirely personal preference, but once we get into the match, we are going to specifically cover starting with the mimic kills, and then I will also show you how to easily do the hellhounds, armored zombies, and regular zombies, in case you're still missing those. Alright, so once you're in the game, basically the first rule, you're going to have to actually prepare for the match. For the most part, we are going to be operating in the tier 2 area with a little bit in the tier 3, so like I mentioned, you will need decent gear. We're going to start off with the hardest challenge, which is going to be the mimic skulls. So basically, there's a few different ways. Apparently, this mimic must have heard me talking about him. But unfortunately, mimics are no longer as easy to get as they used to be. So just bear that in mind. There's really going to be only like 3 reliable ways for us to get mimics. When you kill a mimic, you'll notice that it drops a skull on the ground. You have to pick that skull up. When you pick up the skull, which does disappear after a few seconds, then you will have that in your skulls collected. It is for the entire team. So only one person has to actually pick up the skull on the team, and everybody will get credit for it. Regular zombies and armored zombies can drop bones, and the bones, well, they're not team-based, they're individually based. So basically, I was up here on this rock to try and explain what you needed to do, which is going to be one of 2 things primarily. You're either going to need to farm these, eliminate the big bounty targets, or you are going to need to go to these infested strongholds around the map and look for the mimics. So I was just chilling up here, and of course the mimics decided to go ahead and run off of the roof and attack me. This is something that happens from time to time, but basically every one of the infested strongholds in the tier 2 zone, more than likely has at least one mimic inside the building. Usually it's 2 mimics. This is what happened every single time we went into one of these infested strongholds prior to the update that introduced this challenge. Unfortunately, after the update that introduced this challenge, the devs, for some reason, intentionally or not, have gone and changed what spawns in the infested strongholds. It is possible to get the infested strongholds in the tier 1 low threat zone, but more often than not, they don't actually contain a mimic. So basically, the best way to go ahead and go about this is a little bit of a turd move, but as far as pure efficiency, what you want to do is you just want to go to the infested stronghold, look for their icons on the map, and rotate around the map with the infested strongholds to pull the mimics. So pretty much go in, run through it, look for a mimic. If there is a mimic, grab it, kill it. Hopefully you get to pick up their skulls, move on to the next thing. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a butt move, like I said, because if you don't clear the stronghold won't respawn later, so other people that are looking for the mimics may not be able to actually get them. If you want, clear the stronghold, and if you have the death perception perk, it will show you through the walls where the cysts are, which is incredibly helpful. Also, it's a very good idea to have a durable gas mask. The durable gas mask will help you out a lot if you're going to clear these strongholds, because when you hit the ammo caches that refill all of your ammo, it will also refill the durability on your gas mask. So you can just go in, kill the mimics, leave, go in, kill the mimics, leave, and just keep repeating that process. Unfortunately, like I said, it is a bit of a butt move, but that is the most efficient way to do it. The second most efficient way is to go in, kill the mimics, destroy the cysts, thereby clearing the stronghold, and after you clear the stronghold, then you are good to go to the next stronghold, and about halfway through the game, eventually another stronghold will appear on the map. That's the less efficient way, but more player-friendly to the other people that are in the game. The other option is to collect these big bounties, and you only want to collect the big bounties in Tier 1 or Tier 2, because there's less discrepancy on what you're going to get. In Tier 1, you only have Mimics and Manglers. In Tier 2, you have Mimics, Manglers, and Disciples as possible targets. And in Tier 3, you have the Mimics, you have the Manglers, you have the Disciples, and you have the Mega Abominations that you have to deal with. So just keep that in mind while going through this. If you have an Ether Blade, this makes it a little bit easier because you can just kind of Ether Blade to pull the Mimic out. The big bounty targets take longer to kill, but you can, of course, just kill them real quick and then don't even bother to loot the Rift. Just move on to the next one and keep repeating that process. That's pretty much the easiest way. Now, 2 points just to mention while we're doing this is the fact that after the most recent update, the infested strongholds no longer guarantee there to be 2 mimics in the tier 2 ones. You may get manglers or even disciples instead of mimics. So if you see a mangler in the building or a disciple in the building, simply just move on to the next building because there's no point. The other thing to keep in mind is you can cancel the big bounty contract. So if you pick up a big bounty contract and it's a mangler or a disciple, just go ahead and vote to cancel that contract and then rotate to the next closest thing that you have, whether that be a stronghold or another bounty contract. The last way to effectively farm mimics is going to be to wait for the final exfil helicopter, because during the time waiting for the final exfil helicopter, it does spawn a bunch of mimics, but it's risky because you're going to lose your tombstone. So if you're using tombstone, you don't want to wait to the final exfil. And that's about it. Alright, so since we briefly covered mimics and what you have to do to get them, unfortunately, like I said, with the devs changes, the infested strongholds no longer absolutely guarantee mimics, and the big bounty target missions do slowly start to become less and less on the map. So now we're going to cover just like getting a massive amount of regular bones and getting a bunch of dog skulls and armored zombie skulls. So it's worth noting that the armored zombies need to be heavy armored zombies in order to actually drop the skull. The hellhounds, it doesn't matter as long as it's hellhounds that you kill, you're fine. Pretty much you can go anywhere and kill the hellhounds. The armored zombies, you have to either go into tier 3 to get them, or you have to go inside the storm to get them. Kill them, they drop a helmet. Just like the mimics, when you pick it up, everyone on the team gets credit for it. But in order to actually just go through and like crazy farm the skulls, be it the armored helmets, the dogs, and regular bones, what you want to do is pick up one of the Outlast contracts, and you want to turn this into a infinite spawn Outlast contract. So obviously, if you're going to do the one here in the tier 3 zone, you are going to need to make sure that you are equipped to be in tier 3. I don't think I've really brought in the best gun for that. There's a couple ways of doing this. The way that I prefer is keeping the contract active, but the other way is to not keep the contract active. It's just more of a pain in the ass to do if you're not solo. So basically, to start off with, you're going to grab the contract, make sure that you start up the PND, enter and exit the building at least one time, try to stay alive, and bring this percentage up to 35%. And then we're going to exit the building, and we're just going to keep a infinite spawn of zombies. This works in tier 1 and tier 2 without an issue. Sometimes it's a little bit of a problem in tier 3. So the other method is to stay in the building and then just cancel the contract after 95%. But basically, you'll come out once you're past 35%, and even though the devs said that they changed it, and then they reversed the decision, and then they changed it, and they've gone back and forth on it several times. But basically, you're going to have yourself an infinite spawn of zombies here. And that's regardless of whether it's in the tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3 zone. So you can just murder your way through everything, collecting the bones, which are individual progression, the skulls from the armored zombies that count towards everyone on the team, and the skulls from the dog that count towards everyone on the team. Being in tier 3, you may encounter a random mimic, and you definitely will encounter some manglers and disciples from time to time. So if you do not need the actual armored zombie skulls, and you only need the hellhounds or regular zombie bones, it would be best to do this in the tier 2 area, because obviously special zombies in the tier 3 area are going to be a lot stronger. You can do this for pretty much the entirety of the match and just keep this going, constantly picking up those items. The best game that I did, I had over 2,500 zombie bones at the end of the game, and then you could probably very easily do 300 plus helmets. I wouldn't say you could do all 600 helmets in one game, but you could probably get pretty close depending on how long you started farming this and if anyone in your team was farming it. I'd say comfortably, though, you could get 300 helmets. The dogs are a little bit harder. If you go here in tier 3, for some reason, doing this contract doesn't seem to spawn the dogs in as great a quantity. They spawn about 1 to 3 at a time, whereas at the tier 2 version of the Outlast contract with the infinite spawn, they tend to spawn in 2 sets of 3 each time they spawn. But personal preference at the end of the day. So you just keep doing this till you have everything that you need for the match, and then you go ahead and either cancel the contract or simply exfil from the game and do it all over again. It's personal preference, depends on what you want to do and exactly what you need. Even if the thing falls over dead by itself, like that dog right there, don't know what killed it. Unfortunately, when that happens, you just have to chalk it up as a loss because the game doesn't actually drop the collectible that you need. So it's safe to say, using these tips, you can get the bones that you need, the helmets that you need, and the dog skulls that you need in like 2, maybe 3 really good matches. The mimics, though, well, I've been playing with Kodiak and Dream, so shout out to them while we've tested this over the course of the event. And yeah, I think our record was pretty much the one game, 10 mimics. Kodiak got like 17 by himself. Again, shout out to those guys for helping me out with this recording. But yeah, you're not going to get a ton of mimics. I would be surprised if someone managed to get 25 mimics in a game. So you're going to have to cycle a few games to get that done. But the rest of the stuff is really easy to do. And I do hope that the video helps everyone out. If you can, drop a comment on it, like it. That greatly helps me out with searchability of videos on YouTube. I'll show you what we finish with for collectibles at the end of this match. Alright, so just to show, yes, in that match, we actually got 24. So even though I mucked up and didn't make it out successfully, we got 24 mimics in that game while I was just explaining the different ways to do it. So honestly, not bad, but it is probably better if you clear the entire stronghold so that a new one can respawn. Just to be nice and not to confuse yourself. Anyways, hope the guide helps.